Hi guys! In this tutorial I'll teach you to make this cute cell phone bag. The pattern is very simple and easy to adjust in size. The tutorial is beginner friendly and consists of a variety of single crochet stitches. If you like this bag and want to make one too, keep watching, subscribe if you haven't already and give me a thumbs up. And if you have a question or an idea for a tutorial, let me know in the comments down below. For this tutorial we need one skein of cotton yarn. It is a number 3 cotton yarn. You can pick every yarn you like. I use Eco Cotton from Lemmy Yarns. That is 90% cotton and 10% polyester. 100 grams is 160 meters. The recommended needle is a 4.5 or 5, but because we were making a bag and we want it tight and sturdy, I use for this tutorial a 3.5 millimeter. I also use a magnetic closure and a strap with this clasp. You can also make your own strap and then attach this, but I think this combines very well. This is a leftover from an old bag, from another bag, and I can use it for my bag as well. So you can make your own using the Roman cord and then attach these clips, or you can find one from an old bag and then use that. So this is what we need. Let's begin. We start this tutorial with a chain of 94. So chain 94, we need an even number of stitches, and we work in the second chain from the hook, so we end up with 93 stitches after our first row. If you want to adjust your bag, so you want to make it taller, then you need to make more chains. When you want to make your bag wider, then we need to make more rows. So keep that in mind. If you want to adjust the size of the bag, then make it taller by making more chains, make it wider by making more rows. So we start making a chain of 94. I make a chain of 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13, 14. So I make a little swatch so you can see better what I'm doing, but you have to make a chain of 94 or the length you need to get your desired height. Now we work in the back loops of the chain. So this is the front, and when you turn it over you see the bumps on the back. I work in those bumps because I think it is nicer to see this on the front, the stitches at the front. So loop on your hook doesn't count as a stitch. This is the first chain. We skip that one and insert your hook in the back bump of the second chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So you've made your first single crochet. Then insert in the next back bump, like this, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So single crochet in every stitch across using the back bumps. You can also start with a single crochet foundation chain, then you skip the first row, because with a single crochet foundation chain you make your chain and your first row in one, and then you need 93 stitches. So repeat making single crochets in every stitch across. 2 more, and the last one a single crochet. Okay, I now have 13 single crochets, you have 93. So when you have 93, then your stitch count is correct and we can start making the stitch pattern. So this was row 1. For row 2, chain 1, turn your work, and then we single crochet in the first stitch. So insert in the first stitch, and make a single crochet. Then we'll make a single crochet spike stitch in the next stitch. So here is the next stitch. We don't use this place to insert your hook, but we go down to the base of the chain. So you see here the V of the single crochet, and right below you insert your hook. And then make a single crochet, pull up this loop for the length you have here, and then finish your single crochet. Then go to the next stitch, and in that stitch you make a normal single crochet. Then we go to the next, and here you see the stitch where you normally insert when you make a single crochet. And for the single crochet spike stitch you go one row below, so in this case it is your chain, and you insert in the chain. So here is the stitch, go down and insert under the chain or in the chain, and then pull up a loop and single crochet. The next normal single crochet, just insert in the stitch, the next stitch, and then make a single crochet. For the next stitch we make a single crochet spike stitch again. You see here the next stitch, and go down here and go down to this row below and insert your hook there. Then pull up a loop that is the same height as the loop on your hook, and then finish your single crochet spike stitch. Next, the normal single crochet. So alternate normal single crochet, single crochet spike stitch all the way to the end. Don't make your spike stitches too tight, otherwise your work will crimp and you'll get a wavy pattern. So the next gets a normal single crochet, and the next single crochet spike stitch again. Normal single crochet, single crochet spike stitch. And in the beginning it is difficult to see where to insert your hook. When you work up a couple of rows, then it will be easier and easier. The last stitch we make in this last one, and that is a normal single crochet. So this was row 2. For row 3, chain 1, turn your work, and then you see, I hope you can see it. You see here a short V and a long V, a short V and a long V, short V, long V. So the short V's are the normal single crochets, and the long V's are the single crochet spike stitches. So in every short V you make a single crochet spike stitch, and in every long V you make a normal single crochet. That is throughout the whole pattern everything you need to do. So you chain 1, turn your work, and then see if it is a short V, so a normal single crochet, there you make a single crochet spike stitch, and if it is in the previous row a single crochet spike stitch, then you make a single crochet. So how we make a single crochet spike stitch: you see the short V, and exactly in the point of the V, there you insert your hook, and then yarn over, pull up a loop, and make your single crochet spike stitch. So you now created a long V here. The next is a single crochet spike stitch in the previous row. So in this case we make a normal single crochet. So insert in the stitch under both loops and make a single crochet. Next is a short V, so a normal single crochet. So we insert our hook in the point, so not in the stitch, in the point of the V at the bottom. Then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull up your loops the height of the loop on your hook. Then you get a nice and clean stitch. Then this is a long V, so single crochet spike stitch. So in this stitch we insert in the normal stitch and make a single crochet. The next is a single crochet, so this one gets a single crochet spike stitch. So you see the V, in the point of the V at the bottom, insert your hook, pull up a loop and single crochet. Next, a normal single crochet and a spike stitch in the next. In the bottom of the V and spike stitch. Then a normal single crochet and a spike stitch. A normal single crochet and a spike stitch. So every single crochet in the previous row gets a single crochet spike stitch. Every single crochet spike stitch of the previous row gets a single crochet. So we are at the end. We need one more stitch, and that is a spike stitch. And here you need to see, you have to look for the last V. Here it is. And then you see the bottom of the V. And then make a spike stitch in the last as well. Then chain 1, turn your work, and do the same thing over and over again. So here we repeat row 2, so you see the single crochet spike stitch here, so we start with a single crochet. Here is a single crochet, so the next is a single crochet spike stitch. And then alternate single crochet, single crochet spike stitch all the way to the end. And then in the end, chain 1, turn your work, and see which stitch you need to start. And that's all. This is all you have to repeat until your work is 4 inches or 10 centimeters wide. If you want to make it wider, that's possible, then you need to make more rows. So keep working, check if your stitch count is correct every once in a while. And then is this how it should look. And if you have your work, then you have a rectangle that is about 52 centimeters in length and 10 centimeters wide. So if you have a rectangle that is the same measurements as this or in the size you want, then I'll meet you back and show you how to move on. Okay, when you have your rectangle done, don't bind off, so leave your yarn attached, so we can use this to assemble the piece later on. Now we make 2 side pieces for our bag, exactly the same. So I'll show you how to make one, and then you make another one exactly the same way. So we start with a slip knot on a hook, and then chain 31. If you made more chains than 94 at the beginning, then you need to make more chains for this side part as well, otherwise your form will not come out as it should. So if you adjust the size you made at the beginning, and that is not when you make it wider, so when you make more than 10 centimeters or 4 inches, then you can just make it as the same as I did. But if you make it taller, then you have to adjust this as well. Then you need to calculate how many stitches. Yeah, that is the consequence of making another stitch count. Okay, so if you made 94 stitches in the beginning, then you start with 31 in this part. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 30, 31. Okay, now we chain 1 extra, and then we start to work around this chain to make a side. So we skip the first stitch, the loop on a hook doesn't count as a stitch, skip the first stitch and insert in, and I insert in the top loop for this side. When I work the other side, I pick up the other loop. So that is how I do it. If you want to do it in another way, then it's also totally fine. Just pick what you prefer. Skip the first stitch, insert in the second stitch from the hook and make a single crochet. Make a single crochet in every stitch across until you have one stitch left. Okay, I have one stitch left, and in this stitch we make 3 single crochet. So 1 single crochet in every stitch across until the last stitch, and in this stitch you make 3. So 1, 2, and then turn and make another stitch in this last stitch. And then it is easy, just work 1 single crochet in every stitch across until you are at the beginning again. And you have also, so you have 30 stitches on this side, 3 at the bottom and 30 stitches on that side. And then you have a total of 63. And I work over my tail, so I weave it in at the same time, but you can do that later. That's what you want. So pick up a loop on the other side of the stitch and finish all the way to the other side, making 1 single crochet in every stitch. Like this. So finish this piece, then bind off, cut your yarn and make another one exactly the same. So also start with 31 stitches and then chain 1, and then in the second chain from the hook make single crochet stitches 30 until the last stitch, and then in the last stitch you make 3 and then 30 on the other side as well. Then cut your yarn, bind off, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, when you have your 2 side pieces, then it's time to put the back together. Therefore, insert your hook in the last stitch you made at the body, then chain 1, and then insert in the first stitch. So the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, insert in the first stitch. Then grab your piece and start at the flat side where your tail is. And then pick up the first, you see here, the first stitch. We pick up the front loop only. So pick up the whole stitch for at the body and the front stitch, front loop, and then make a slip stitch. So pull through and pull the yarn through the loop on your hook. Then pick up the next stitch, so 2 loops on your hook, and pick up the front loop of the next stitch of the side, and then make a slip stitch. Whole loop of the next stitch, front loop of the next stitch of the side, slip stitch, whole loop, whole stitch, and the front loop, and slip stitch, whole loop, front loop, slip stitch. So repeat this until you are at the bottom, And then just keep on working on the other side, picking up stitches on this side as well. When you covered this whole side piece, then I'll meet you back and show you how to move on. When you finished your slip stitches all the way around, then your work looks like this on this side. Other side is still open. And now we finish this last part of this side. And therefore we make 6 slip stitches in the next 6 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you adjust the length of your project, so you didn't start with 94 stitches but started with more or less, then you need to recount this part so it fits your project again. So 6 slip stitches, and then we start inserting in the next stitch and in the last stitch. So through the whole stitch like this, and then grab your yarn and slip stitch, and then through the next stitch and through the next stitch on the other side, and make a slip stitch. This stitch, stitch on the other side, slip stitch. Repeat this until this part is fully closed, and then cut and bind off, cut your yarn, bind off, and weave in your ends on this side. Okay, and then you have this side closed, so we have a little pocket on the top and a pocket for your phone. So now it is time to attach the magnetic closure. The little one is for the top and the thicker one is for the bottom. Okay, so we need to decide where we want our clip, our closure. So you can do that by closing your bag, and then you see here the end of the bag and here the beginning of the flap. So you need to line that up, and then you see where your bag closes, and then you can decide where you want your clip. So I want them here, and then make sure you have it in the middle. So it is nice and it is the middle. You can choose to do this at the end, but now it is easier to see the other side. So use a sharp or hard thing to bend the two pieces inside to the inside, because that is not nice for your fingers. So let's do that like this. And now this one is secured. Now you can see where you want this one to line it up. Put it in like you did on the other side. So is this the middle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, not exactly the middle. So he needs to move up a little bit. So wiggle it through. I don't know why it won't come through. Yes, there it is. Okay, before you make it on the other side, check if it is on the right spot. And I think it is, so I get my clip, the back, put it on, and fold your 2 pieces to the middle to secure. But now it is fixed, and now we can close the other side. So for the other side, we start at this part. So cut the yarn, leave a nice long tail to weave in your ends, and then bind off. Leave the tails or sew them in straight away. That is totally your choice. Then we have to count. We had 12 stitches here, so we need to have 12 here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, just so this is half. Then turn the work, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Insert through the first stitch on this side, and insert through the first stitch on the other side. It is easier on this side. And then find the beginning of your yarn. Take these out of the way. Make a slip knot on your hook. Then grab the slip knot and pull through the 2 and chain 1. Then insert in the next stitch, so see where your next stitch is, insert through the whole stitch and through the whole stitch on the other side, and make a slip stitch. Next stitch, and the next stitch on the other side, and make a slip stitch. I make these a little bit tighter. Then repeat until you finished all 12 stitches. Okay, my last 2 slip stitches. So this is number 11, and here is number 12. Okay. So you see this part is now closed. Now we make 6 slip stitches in the next 6 stitches. So we have 12. Now we make 6 in the next 6, just the whole stitch. I don't know what I've done here. So tight. Wow. Man. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now it is time to attach the other side. Make sure the rounded side is at the bottom, and we start at this point. So insert in the next stitch through the whole stitch, and like we did for the other side, for this one we pick up only the front loop. So the whole stitch and the front loop, and then slip stitch, just like you did on the other side. Nothing too difficult. So the next stitch, whole stitch and front loop of the side, and slip stitch, whole stitch, front loop, slip stitch. Okay, repeat all the way around, so all the way around the bottom of the bag, attaching the side, picking up the whole stitch of the back and the front loop of the side, and then when you are at the last stitch, then I'll meet you back. I closed the sides, all done. Only thing we need to do is cut the yarn and bind off. And now we have to weave in all the ends, and then our bag is done. So weave in all your ends, and then grab your strap, and you can attach it through the side like this, and also on the other side. This is the result. Hope you like it. I would love to see your cell phone bag. If you made one, share it with me on Instagram. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.